Hey everyone, in this video we're going to be going over the 2024 submission guide of my Learn platform. I have some new changes, so if you've already used it in the past, it's a little bit different nowadays. However, this one is specifically from the perspective of IT 265. If I have any other courses that don't directly use the Git processes from the local machine, this would apply for that course too. So I'll have two versions of this video, one for the standard way and one for this way. So this homework specifically was for the GitHub reading, so it's a good place to start. And I'll introduce everything from this perspective and show you the full process. Now, this homework is submitted slightly different. It was closer in line to how I did 2023. However, I noticed and will show you an issue, I guess, that kind of stopped me from being able to do the previous submission path. So future assignments, you'll be uploading a file to Canvas instead of doing a link, but I'll be highlighting that again through the video. So this will take you to the assignment. The assignment, you'll have your course section, whatever. You'll have the assignment name. If it's generic, that means I use it for more than one course. Otherwise, it's specific to a particular course. The Git readings I use across all my courses. The only difference is how you utilize Git. So this one is more for the I guess user-friendly path or beginner path, whereas the other one, which I should have included as well, is more intermediate. So here you have your section of submissions. I currently don't have any active submission aside from the one that's like here working, but you can go back and forth between the past 5 submissions. If you have more than that, it's just going to show you your 5 latest. Now, submissions have 3 different statuses that you're going to be dealing with. You have active, that's what you're currently working on, and you can save as many times as it makes sense. Closed is a previously active submission that you're closing that you don't want to be graded. Some scenarios are if I make a drastic change and I need you to refresh it, you close the current submission and then create a new one going from there. And graded. Graded is when you actually get a grade applied. You can't edit a closed or graded submission. You can only edit an active one. So in either of those two states, you have 2 options. You can create a brand new blank submission from the latest assignment, or you can copy what you're working on and create a duplicate to make some minor edits. Usually if you're trying to resubmit something and get a better grade, you would preferably make a copy of it so you don't have to fill in everything again. But just that. Anyway, then you have your instruction section. Most of your items here will kind of guide you through the homework process and how to do the submission. Again, this one is going to be talking about generating an output file and getting a link on GitHub. In the future, it's going to be a file upload to Canvas and to GitHub. The output file you get from this submission is more for your own tracking purposes and everything, so you can show off your progress or just have your future self look at the progress you've done or whatever without having to go into my platform. So this one is about Git readings on Git, readings about Git on W3 Schools, and I'm just giving a brief overview here, and I'll talk about the different tasks below, which are more or less the same thing. Then commonly I'll have a similar outline of how to do the submission. So if you don't remember from the video or whatever, you can always go here and it's more or less, follow along. The beginning homework or homeworks will have pretty specific steps. Then I will broaden them out because you guys should be comfortable with the process already, and I'm just going to have like reminder checkpoints and whatnot. I'll go over this with you guys as we go through the assignment. Then you typically have a branch name when you do your assignments. I'll show you how to make branches and everything once we get there. And for all intents and purposes, a branch is basically a timeline. We're going to be doing separate timelines and then combining timelines to a primary or main timeline. This way we don't break anything that's on the main timeline. We always make sure everything is nicely additive and whatever. So this is something you want to follow. It doesn't have to be precise, but it does make it easier finding your homework. Then you're going to have a number of tasks. So this one has 7 items, and the total point is going to be 10. Now, the way the grading works is you'll typically have groups of tasks. Those groups have the final grade applied. Anything in that group will just have points that are equal to some percentage. Typically, tasks will be 1 point, but they can vary to change the weighting. Tasks may also have something called checklists, and checklists also have their own like sub points that eventually turn into a percentage to weight the specific task. So there's layers of this, but the main points are your groups. Rarely, I guess, you'll have a group called no group. I think that's how it shows. That's just ungrouped tasks. Then the task becomes I believe it's a high level or top level point value. Either way, regardless of what happens, you guys will have an estimated grade show up here as you progress through your oops, making noise over here. As you progress through your tasks. And this is what you should get, assuming you followed instructions correctly. So this one is about reading, specifically this section on W3 schools. Your section may or may not have a reasonable amount of readings. Mostly it depends on the class topics of what type of assignments you have, and I'll get to each types of tasks in those assignments. So you have 3 types of tasks at the moment. You have image, you have URL, and you have text. So image is where most of the effort went into to make it a smoother process. Most things I ask for are screenshots. But again, it depends on the course. Most of my courses are screenshots of things followed by like explanations of what you're showing me or how it works or whatever. So images, you'll have any number of images for a specific task. It depends on the context. Every image must have a caption. That's part of the grade. The main point of the caption is just to highlight what you're showing in that image. Now, images may or may not have checklist items. If they have a checklist, you can attach any number of checklist items to a specific image showing that it completes that checklist. That is not related to grading, that's more for personal tracking, but it does make it easy for the grader to know exactly what you're trying to show, if applicable. So I'm going to demonstrate the image task type in a bit. URLs are pretty easy. It's any number of URLs, and you just link them as necessary, add new URLs. Responses are always going to be the same visual component. Even if it's like one word, it's still the same component. I didn't feel like making a separate response just for single word items. You'll have a fairly advanced text editor you can use, so it accepts some like HTML, Markdown, whatever, so you can customize it, although plain text is probably fine. And I'm going to go through all those different examples because this assignment has 2 versions. It has the images and it has the text response. So let's go and create an image. Your image, it will show up like this. It's by default a transparent item. You can paste or drop an image here, or you can upload it as a file from here, or you can upload it as a URL if you have a publicly accessible URL. Not super common, but I have this just in case. Then once you have an image, you can draw on it, you can highlight stuff, you can circle stuff, change your brush size, whatever. You have some basic painting capabilities. The main important thing is to make sure you see the preview of what you're intending to deal with. You can have any number of images here, so you can just keep adding the plus icon. However, make sure you do not have an image that is blank or without a caption. If you are missing that, then it won't let the grader give you full points because it's designed to make sure you fill in everything. I'll do an example of the reading. So I have my essentials done here. So just to double check. Oops, let me go back. This is task 1, complete the essentials item. So let's go back. And it's just a screenshot. You don't need to save the images to your machine if you don't want to. I don't recommend it. I try not to. So unless Windows 11 does things differently, I keep these on my clipboard and I paste them right away, and that's it. So as long as you have this active, you should be able to paste here. If it seems cut off, just make sure that everything that you want to show is within the bounds of this black border. If you need to, for whatever reason, you can circle stuff. So for example, if I want to do red and say, hey, look, it's all complete, I can. Again, make sure the preview shows up. Also, as you add images, you'll get this little gallery down here. If you need to jump to a specific image, you can click select, or you can jump through them over here. So let's just add another one. I'll demonstrate something else here later. I'm going to go back to the original image, and I'm going to add a caption showing lesson 1 completed, or complete, whatever, it doesn't matter. Now, if you're done, you can just save here if you want. It's going to just save the current submission, and that way if you refresh a page, nothing should be lost. If you don't want to save yet, I don't recommend it, but if you don't want to, you can just click the X button and it's going to be here. If you refresh the page at this point, it is gone. So just be mindful to save. If you want to save without opening up one of those editors, you can just save at the bottom. So this will work. I'll get back to this one in a bit. Let me go and get the other details just to be thorough in this lesson. Right, yeah. Paste that. Lesson 2 completed. Now, again, the caption is to highlight what you want to show. Some screenshots will be busy, so that's why I have that as a requirement. Some of them will be redundant, so it's okay. As long as you provide it, it should be easy points. Sometimes I do have relatively easy points built in, just especially if people are struggling, they don't get an atrocious grade. Good. I'll keep that, and lesson 3 done. And I'm specifically not saving them yet, so I can show you at the end. This one's a little bit larger. This is from the tutorial page, so I do recommend to get that there if you have readings. However, there is another spot that shows completion. Doesn't matter as long as the evidence is there and captured. Lesson 4 completed. And notice I skipped lesson 5 here. Now for this specific class, I don't really anticipate too many readings here, since this isn't a highly code technical class. However, depending on choices made in the class, I may kind of assign or unofficially assign things for you guys to focus on to help you later on when we actually do somewhat technical stuff. Lesson 5 complete. Trying to think and type at the same time. Oh, it's not lesson 5. It's lesson 6. I'm just telling you I skipped it and I did it. I can just update and fix that. There we go. And oh, the quiz. I just realized I forgot to fill this in correctly in the last one I did. Whatever. The quiz is down here. So, hey, it's done. Whatever. Happy to use this. That's fine. Hopefully no one gets confused in the other video I did. Quiz with greater than 70%. Cool. Now the next one is the response. But now just let me take a second. I want to see what I actually put for the... Oh, I didn't. Okay. Oh, it's the same thing. Anyway, so this one is your response. Most items, if they're technical or if they're isolated items, they will have a reflection area. However, you may just have an assignment that's just fill it in. But most things will have a bit of a reflection and a couple questions. Questions may be similar. It depends on what the assignment is. So summarize your understanding of the readings, how we'll be using it in class, mention any issues you might have encountered, and show how you talk about how you resolve them. So most often you guys might have had some issues. Do highlight this. Now, if you have any show-stopping issues, anything that's really preventing you from doing something, don't leave this don't just record it here. The homeworks are submitted later usually and graded even later, so make sure you reach out to me and get those issues resolved first, but do document the process of what you had and how you resolved it so you can go back and look at it, and especially if you had the same issue, you can figure out how to resolve it again. This one has checklist items. Clicking these boxes doesn't do anything. It's just to visually record what you're so you know, but this is not used for grading. Grading is a different view. So edit, you have your whole nice area, and you'd summarize. Platform issues caused a delay in getting work done. Solution was out of my hands. Get issues related to typos. Fixed it by reviewing the material. I don't know, just some generic stuff. Now, you have a lot of control here, so if you do have any other styling, you can always preview how it's going to appear on the assignment. Otherwise, if it's plain text, you can just leave it. Again, make sure you target the checklist items. This is what will be used as grading from the grader. These points, usually they're going to be 1, but if I need to emphasize a weight on something, they'll be a little bit higher. So mention issues and ratios. I mentioned a couple issues. Covers core concepts and Git readings. I didn't do that because I didn't want to give answers. This one would talk about what are the Git process add, commit, push, whatever. At least a few reasonable sentences. And then that should give you your full marks. So I'm going to go back here. Yeah, so then technically I'm done. This is the end of the assignment. I have this here because of the way I had exported stuff, but I kept it here so you guys can visually know, hey, you're done with the assignment. I missed something here, so it's showing a partial grade here. That's because I have this empty item over here that I'll take care of in a minute. You may have noticed that there's also an undo. The undo state is based on when this view loads. So if I make new changes, I can undo and undo. If I reset, it should go back to some original state. I don't want to lose anything, so I'm not going to go and press it right now. As far as the second image, I don't think this is too likely for this course, but it might be. I may ask for screenshots of code or something. So if I do, you can either just take a plain old screenshot, or you can utilize the beta code tool that I've been working on. So how this is going to work, I'll demonstrate. You go to your GitHub, you click any file, any code or text file. Now, since your repositories are probably private, which it should be, we're going to have to do this a little differently. Normally, you can just grab this if it's public. But since it's private, we need this temporary token that's going to show up. This isn't saved anywhere, it's just used, and it's very short-lived, so make sure you do this in like this specific step in like one sitting. So I'm going to copy this, paste the URL here, and it should auto-load. You should see fetch complete. If you see fetch complete and a OK warning, this is talking just about the token, you should get a review and reduce section. This will give you an original code comparison and a reduced code comparison. If you have a long text file and not everything is relevant, you can change or mention what line numbers or range of line numbers are relevant to demonstrate. So for example, if I just want line 1, I'll type line 1 and it's going to show that the rest of it's omitted, and this is system generated. If I want to show lines 1 and 2, it's going to show lines 1 and 2, but not a great example because the file is minimal. Once you have this view the way you want it, again, make sure everything is like visible because it's based on the visibility here. You can click generate image. This should happen pretty quickly, but just keep an eye out for the pop-up and the new task here. The new task will bring the image into the edit area, so if you need to make any changes to it or if you have to highlight something, you can. So if I want to like highlight this, I can. Not that's absolutely necessary, but you do have that ability. And then since this is an image component still, you still need to have a caption. So showing some example code for talking purposes. Good. I can also switch back to the other thing. So it updates like kind of in real time. It's not saved yet, but the whole component updates, so you can just go back and forth. I'm not going to save here yet. I want to demonstrate everything together, but you should be able to save at every stage. We're good. We're getting 10 out of 10 now because we have everything filled in per like specs. It doesn't actually grade you. It's just assuming things are right. This is what you should get. And so you should always see a 10 out of 10 when you're filling out your assignment. Okay, so I'm going to save the changes. Once the changes are saved, you'll get a little pop-up here. It could take 30 seconds, depends on the background process. Then we're going to export the file. This semester 2024, it is PDF. Previous semesters were markdown files, but I'm trying to better organize things. However, late in the process of these changes, I realized a limitation on the GitHub side, which we will explore together. So I don't remember I clicked this. I don't know. I'll click it again. So clicking it will export the PDF, and everything's going to render okay. It should look something like this. So there's a link for the grader to click it. Any links in your assignment should be clickable, and it's going to show a rough output. Maybe not perfect, but it's fine. This is mostly for you guys to kind of show what you've done. Um, we're going to take this file and we're going to put it on GitHub. So this is slightly different than other courses I teach. So that's why I have this separate video. So we're going to go and create a branch. So we're going to go to the branch dropdown. I forgot what the branch is called. Branch is called M1 Git Readings. So we're going to create or type the branch, and it's going to ask us to create it. This is going to create a new timeline so we don't impact anything on main. So it has a copy of everything, and I'm going to go to my repository here, and I'm going to add a file. So I'm going to upload, and oh, it doesn't let me do a folder here, I don't think. Let me go back real quick. Oops, I wasn't even in the right branch, so I want to make sure I have the right branch. I know I can add a file. I know I can add folders here. So if I did like module 1 / then that would create a new folder. Anyway, whatever. I'll do the upload and I'll see what happens from the root of this. So M1, whoops, not that one. New file. And I'm going to go and grab my, oops, wrong class. Oops. And this one. Okay, so it's going to upload it. You leave a message about like what the changes are, homework, output, and you want to make sure it goes to a specific branch. Alternatively, if you didn't want to create the branch ahead of time, you could upload the file and you can check this to create the branch now. But I'm going to do commit. That's going to upload that file, so I have this. Now the problem behind this, aside from the quality, is that GitHub renders PDFs as images, at least now. So the clicking that I have available is not possible. So the first homework assignment, the grader is going to have to probably download them manually or whatever, but future homework assignments will be able to be done through Canvas. So future homework assignments, you're going to upload this file that I just showed you to GitHub and to Canvas. So the graders are going to use that link to get to your grading area, and it's supposed to save some time for everybody. If you need to reorganize this, I have to double check to see how we can do that from the UI here. Worst case, you can always hit the dot key, and it's going to bring you into a virtual VS Code, and then you can make your folder and move things around and whatever, and then save it. So new folder, module 1, move this over. Are you sure you want to move? Yes. Good. Let me just see if that reflects on. Can you work on remote repository and VS Code desktop? Okay. Does it auto work? Let me see. Local poll waiting. Okay, so I'll have to go through the source control here and add my commit message and push it. So moved homework. Okay. Now we're done with that. I don't know a quick way to jump back, so I'm just going to go back. Oops, too far. Okay. So now I'm going to get a 404 not found because I moved the file. You don't have to do this. I'm just, if you want to organize yourselves, you can. So I have the file. Now for this homework and just this homework, we're going to copy this link. This is used to be how I submit everything. But again, because it's limitation, I don't need the graders to download a whole bunch of PDFs. So I'm going to pretend I'm a student. New attempt. And I paste the link. In general, you're going to be able to upload it here, but for now. You don't need to add a comment unless I ask you to add a comment for some reason. There's few edge cases for that, but in general, just submit the assignment and everything should be good. Now, if you're submitting links like this, if this were to work the way I had originally wished it worked, You wouldn't be able to see things here because your repository is private and Canvas doesn't have access to your repository. So what we do as graders is we'd go and open a new tab and we'd interact and do whatever. Once I have you guys actually upload the PDF will render nicely because surprisingly enough, Canvas renders it better than GitHub. And then we'll go to the grading on the platform and they'll fill things out, the feedback, whatever, and it'll give you the grade on Canvas. So it's just a glorified worksheet, and that's how we go through filling things out. I'm going to delete this. Well, I mean, I'm not going to, but if you do make any changes, you want to make a new output file and update it. That way you have the latest information as well. And whatever you see is, you know, what the graders should be seen to grade. And I think that should be the gist of it. No pun intended, even though there's no gist here, but that's another Git topic. Sorry, not done. We would go and make a pull request. You can do the quick one here, or just since I want to show you how to do it manually in case you have to, you go to pull requests, you click new pull request. You compare the branches, so you're always going to the left, so we want to merge it into main. We're going to go to M1 Git readings, and everything should be green. Most of the time, this should always be the case for us, hopefully. Click create pull request. It doesn't actually create it yet. Has to have a title. Normally you'd gather other information here. You can assign reviewers, assignees, labels, whatever. This stuff I'll likely highlight specifically if it becomes important for this class. But for now, click the create pull request. Some assignments could ask for a pull request, so you may need to like push a file and open a pull request and keep it open until you're done. If it does, it's this URL. It ends in /pull/a number. This is the first one, so first pull request, but this one didn't ask for that. I'm just kind of letting you know. Make sure everything's all good, and we can merge and confirm. So when you merge, it's going to merge this timeline into this timeline. And that means both of them are functionally the same at this point in time. And typically, we're not going to go back to other branches or timelines and modify things. We're always going to be updating main, making a new branch, updating main, making a new branch. And we're going to do that cycle, that process here. So I'm going to go back to code. Code is going to drop down to our main. We have our module 1 folder if you decide to create one. We have our PDF. Now, when you submit your homework, try not to move things around because that's going to break the URL. So I'm done moving things. This is the URL I submitted as I did over here. Yeah, okay, I did. Just making sure I moved it before. And that's it. So main is updated. I submitted from the, where is it? The M1 excuse me. I submitted from the M1 Git readings, which is fine. I recommend you guys to submit your work from the specific branch. That way, if you do break main, which you shouldn't, but if you do break it, you don't delete your previous homeworks and the graders don't have to go hunting for things. Yeah, that should be the gist of it. We're going to be doing everything through the website. However, I will have both videos included in your section, so if you do prefer to do it the more intermediate way, I don't have specific workflow for that for this class, but I will have the submission video where you can kind of get the concept going. If we have to do things later on to make our lives easier that way, then I'll introduce those topics. But for now, going to this GitHub dashboard is more than plenty for what we have to do. As I said, we have our editor there. You just have to hit the dot. It's going to open your editor. You can do your things, and we can go back. I'm not too familiar with the online editor yet, so I don't know how to go back other than going back. And that should be it. If you guys run into any issues, please let me know, especially if there's any issues on my platform. Those I need to make sure that I iron out for you guys because I want to make sure this process is smooth. It's kind of a trade-off between making sure it's guided enough to make it easy to grade in mass and guided enough to make sure you know what you have to do and be able to complete it sufficiently. But other than that, thanks for watching. Take care and see you guys in the next class or next video.